Hey everyone, quick little announcement from Fishing the DMV. Our Weekend Warrior package on Patreon is nearly full. There are only 22 spots still available. Once these spots are gone, they're gone, and the Weekend Warrior tier will be closed to the general public. All members will be locked in indefinitely at a fantastic price point, and they will get all the benefits that they have today, plus any new benefits and discounts that will be added in the future. All Weekend Warriors will receive 5% off their orders to Jake's Bait and Tackle, 10% off their orders to Tiger Crankbaits, 10% off their orders to Catoctin Creek Rod. They'll also gain access to our private Facebook group community, loads of members-only content. And in 2025, there are going to be tournaments that will be given a massive discount specifically to our Weekend Warrior members. Plus, if you sign up for the year right now, you will get 8% off your already fantastically discounted rate to join the Weekend Warrior program. Link in the episode description. Thank you. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and I have the man, the myth, the legend, New Horizon Boat Builds. Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're going to kick off, I think, right where we were before we started recording. Your story and how you got into doing what you're doing now.
So I've been attending this fishing show since 2010 when I was 16 years old. And I've fished every level of tournament bass fishing from the New Horizon Bass Anglers to the FLW Tour and everything in between. And my life is revolved around commercial construction. I work in the day as a BIM coordinator on the electrical side, and then I run New Horizon Boat Builds full time. And today was the first time in 15 years that every original member from Region 9 of the Bass Federation was in the same room together. And the gentleman, John Fair, I've known him since I was 16, and he's worked as an excavator with earth moving with heavy machinery for probably 40 years. And the whole reason why I started in commercial electrical construction when I was 19 years old, and why New Horizon Boat Builds exists, why I have the skills in order to perform that, is because of him. And I get to see him here every year, and I don't know where I would be without that.
Is he the reason you got to do what you do with not just the boat builds, but your career?
Yeah, he inspired me to get into commercial construction because something was different about me growing up where I just never clicked in school or outside. I dropped out of community college when I was 18. Wow. And I just had not a clue what I was going to do. But I always thought it was so cool seeing this guy who was on construction sites and all of these big buildings and all of the work that goes into that. And something just clicked with me, and it inspired me to get into construction. Mm-hmm. And I worked my way from a general laborer all the way through my apprenticeship. I graduated. I got my journeyman's license a year and a half after I got my master's license, and then 2.5 years ago, almost 3, I've started New Horizon Boat Builds, and I took that electrical knowledge and my education in the National Electric Code, and I've been able to apply that mechanically to bass boats and soon to be kayaks and saltwater boats. And it's been it's just been a wonderful occurrence. I don't know what to call it, but it's been an absolute wonderful thing.
People will call it fate, stars aligned, all that, astrology stuff of right place, right time. And I like the story that you mentioned, like you went to, you can even reiterate this story again, but you're going to something thinking it's a certain club, and it wasn't, but you meet people just because of that weird occurrence there.
Yeah. So what started out it was actually a messed up email. And, I had fished a high school event that Ernie Rojas put on in Ashburn. So we got Stonebridge High School, Broad Run, I think Briar Woods together. And when I fished that event on those 3 ponds in Ashburn, Alder, Beach, and Cedar, it it clicked, and I said, that's what I want to do, and for the remainder of my life until I die. And if I can dedicate some of my time to be able to do that, it just makes my life complete. And I want to fish everything. So I was looking for a youth league, which did not exist at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 2010. And I found the Bass Federation, and for some confusion, I'm thinking it's a youth league. So my dad and I, we drove up to Dale City back 15 years ago, and we walk into the room, and everyone's in their 40s, everyone's in their 50s and 60s, and my dad and I are looking at each other like, we thought this was a youth league. And they're like, no, this is the TVF. This is Region 9. This is what you're doing. So from the time I was 16, I was getting to fish with, adults all over Virginia and the Potomac, the Chickahominy, the James, Kerr. And I've amassed trophies. If you've seen on some of my other podcasts, I've got an entire collection, a collection that I've had over years. And, each one tells a story. And a lot of those started from those gentlemen. And they took their time and catered to me and taught me, and they were there if I needed advice. And I do not know where I would be. Literally, I really have not a clue where I'd be without that.
And you start with that grassroots, that origin of an idea and a dream, and it's evolved to when you first started doing this a couple of years ago to. Did you make the announcement about the new plant, the new things that are going on yet? Well, this is pre-recorded, so we can always cut this out. So you have a new facility coming in.
Yes. So I am currently in the works of building a 30 by 40 foot facility at my residence in Fork Union, which is about 15 minutes away from the current location. And this is a dedicated facility with a 200 amp service for up to between 3 and 4 full-size bass boats. And we really want to be able to take this to a new level and cater to anyone from either in-state or out-of-state. And then on top of that, we're going to be opening a e-commerce site.
Oh, dope. Okay.
For equipment sales. So to make the process more streamlined and a better experience, all you'll have to do is drop your boat off. And in 7 days, you will have all of that equipment installed and in a quality installation, code compliant, and you don't have to provide anything. And New Horizon Boat Builds can take care of all of the equipment purchases.
How long was this from your head of, I want to do the building and stuff, to where you're breaking dirt?
I started the process about 2 months ago. I went through all of the legal work, permitting, zoning compliance. We just had the pad poured when we had the heat wave come through last Monday. My contractor removed the form on Thursday, and now I'm working in between with doing a load calculation with Dominion Energy to have the service roughed in the next probably 3 weeks. And then with that garage, we'll aim to be installed and completed in about a 2-month time frame.
Okay, that's insane. If you get a sign for that building, you need some of these guys to autograph it.
The banner that you see on my table, it says Palmyra, Virginia. And what I'm going to do is the next time I come here, I'm going to go around and get everyone I can to sign that.
Dude, yes.
And that's the first thing that's going to be hung up in that garage.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a new Fork Union sign.
Oh, that's a great idea, man. I mean, what you're doing, and you're taking this area by storm with how fast you're growing. More and more people are dropping their boats off with you. I'm going to be dropping my kayak. John, he's not here anymore, but John's dropping his kayak off too. Did you think when you started this, okay, you start a business, you think you're going to get some customers, but then it's like it hits this almost what I call like this parabolic where it just goes straight up. And is it, I mean, it's humbling, of course, but I don't know. Where's your mind at with it?
So originally I knew that, say, Hennessy Outdoors, which I would say is the most popular electronics installation facility or business, I knew that if I got into this, that I would be the only licensed master electrician in Virginia who would specialize in this. So I knew there was potential, but to see where I know where it can go and will go. And that's it's closer than what you would think.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I would feel in 3 years, it could be unrecognizable.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I mean, when it comes to the industry right now with electronics and things like that, oh yeah, this is something cool that we could bring on the show. Is I think you messaged me this about Garmin with updates and things like that, little bugs. Is there any big issues that you're seeing right now that people need to be aware of when they're installing their electronics?
Yes. So with Garmin LiveScope, the current 2 transducers that are for forward-facing sonar are the LSV-34 and then the LSV-62, I believe. The 34 is the most, 90% the most common. And what seems to be happening is there is a hardware failure that is coming after about 2 years of normal use. So if you and I, we fish pretty much like the everyday person where we get out there 1 or maybe 2 days every other week, maybe. And what's happening is there's something called an altitude headings reference system sensor. And what this does is it stabilizes the sonar pings from basically being able to come back, and your boat can pitch and roll and your screen stays stable. And what's happening is this hardware is going bad, and the transducer has to be replaced. There's no fix for it. And if it is out of warranty, or what the best thing to do is either contact me so we can talk it through and I can give you the appropriate steps, or contact Garmin. There's been several Facebook Garmin groups, and I've seen this all over the country. And then between myself and a peer of mine, we've replaced up to 50 LiveScope transducers.
Why do you think this is happening?
It's a new, relatively new technology, and you have something that was undiscovered and maybe a defective part. Luckily, my personal case is my transducer quit. It became defective about 3 weeks ago. I contacted Garmin, and their customer service was wonderful to work with. And I simply provided a snapshot of my software update, what was going on with the calibration not being able to work properly or work at all, and then what my screen return was showing. And they replaced my transducer. And every case is different. I mean, that worked for me. I can't guarantee anything, but if you're having issues, or you're basically fishing and all of a sudden you see your bottom just fall out, that's a transducer failure. And what you'll notice is the water temperature goes away, and then you're no longer able to calibrate. And you have no bottom return. And in that case, the transducer will have to be replaced.
So if people wanted to, they're thinking about getting a 34, 32, can they order that from you and get it insured in the whole shebang?
They can order that from me. I can provide that. The registration will have to be done on the client's part, just because you have to set up a personal account. Very easy, and I can provide the steps to walk you through on that, because every piece of equipment that comes through us, we always recommend to have it registered for warranty purposes.
And if it's not registered yet, is there, like you said, and just I guess reiterate it again, is there a ticking clock when it comes to them insuring with warranty? If you've had it 3 years, would they still do it if you haven't registered it yet?
That's a really good question. Usually they can run the serial number and they can tell when in the production. And that's usually the defining moment of whether it'll be honored or not.
And then I had another question for you, but I forgot the name of it. NBT, I think it is. Yep. All right, cool. So what do you think about these screens? Like, guys, acronyms suck, and I work for the government, so this is not good. NBT Marine and these plasma screen ADH. Have you seen these? Have they come through your door yet at all?
No, I honestly haven't. All of the research I've done, it points to more touring level. Once you get to the Costa series and above, it becomes more common. Not common, but more common. From every BFL that I have fished in the past 3 years, I have not seen one. It does get quite expensive because the NBTs act as basically an HDMI cable to a monitor. And they're only compatible with the Garmin GPS map, which is Garmin's top of the line charter plot. And they range from a 7-inch screen all the way to a 27-inch screen that runs for, I think, $15,000 or $16,000.
It's stupid how expensive it is.
Now, it is nice if you're going to dedicate yourself and become a connoisseur of live scope. Yeah, do it. You can afford it, do it. But if you stick with the eco maps, stick with the GPS map. That's your best budget, medium priced, entry level electronics to go with if you're going to live scope or use forward facing sonar. But the thing is with the NBTs, the GPS map is the only one that's compatible. You can have an eco map, but you have to have a software converter. So it's this external processor that will allow the coding to work with NBT. They run for about $2,000 each.
It's crazy because to me, what some of the people in my friend group talk about is the biggest thing with scope that will help you is screen size. I mean, it is easier on a 12-inch to see than a 6-inch. And when you can get 22 is a little ridiculous, but if you get a 16-inch that's bigger, it's way easier for you when you get older to see. Do you think they're ever going to come down with the price so you can get a 15-inch screen, but it doesn't cost a house?
So one thing that I do envision in the next few years is the elimination of the GLS-10 module. And the reason I see this, and if it does follow the way that Lowrance and Humminbird, or especially Lowrance used to work, back 10, 15 years ago with Structure Scan, they used to have an external processor to actually get your image. So if you bought a site imaging transducer, it came with this external processor that would work in tandem with your control head. I do see the technology getting to the point where they eliminate the GLS-10. It may lower the price. I would like to expect that to happen, that the bundle would drop in value and we might be able to get to a point where we have a better way of efficiently manufacturing electronics. And it's the same way that how we used to have plasma screen TVs back in the early 2000s, where a 50-inch would cost $8,000, but now you go to Walmart and you can get a 60-inch for $1,000. So if electronics trend in that direction, then we might see something nice.
Batteries. I was trying to, and I'll throw this again, guys, up on the screen since this is pre-recorded, so I don't care if it's a little slow. I know I took a damn picture of it just so I could show it again. This battery is insane. Here it is. Okay, 12 volt, 460 amp hour. It's cartoonish. I want Greg to see it just so we can have a conversation about it. I'll put it up on the screen. It's Looney Tune, like how big it is compared to the 100 volts. Why is it more is it just marketing and sales? Is there validity to it in general? Because you're seeing more and more companies out competing each other for like how crazy these batteries can get.
There is absolutely no sense for any bass fisherman to have ever needed anything that has 465 amp hours. Even with the most extreme setup that you would see that was on the Bassmaster Elites, which was probably Kyoto Fujita, which he was running 4 live scope bundles and 6 graphs, you could get away with fishing basically 48 hours without a charge off of 2 100 amp hour batteries. Not even. Probably 100 to 150 amp hours in 48 hours. That we'll never get to that. Now, if it's engineered in the right principle, you could see the electric motor industry work off of something like that.
That makes sense. Okay.
Because that's something that's in its infancy and it's not efficient. No matter how good they are, they're just not efficient because no electrical technology that comes straight into the universe works the way it needs to.
Well, and that's a good thing because again, like I guess I was listening in on Musk's and the Tesla's earnings call and some things like that, and talking about where that is at. Is the biggest holdup right now battery technology? Because are we ever going to see a Tesla style bass boat being more, not just an outlier thing, but more part of the zeitgeist of fishing?
The fact that we have high output lithium batteries in vehicles today, I would not be surprised if we have something like that in the marine industry. The only thing is there is a higher market value in automobiles than there is in bass boats or boats in general. We probably won't be there for a while. It's just the return on it is not there with an overall market. Everyone's got to own a car.
Yeah, that's true.
But not everyone has to own a boat.
Because, I mean, that's a good point. Like, have you, I'm assuming you probably have worked on guys that have these pimped out electric motor only boats. Like, that's a lot of weight that you're throwing in that boat to get that output.
Yeah. One client I had last year was from a electric only bass club in Richmond. And with their setup, they had 4 Ionic 100 amp hour batteries and then 2 interstate AGMs.
Damn.
And I can understand that because their outboards are 24 or 36 volt, trolling motors, 112 pound thrusts each. I can understand that. But to start getting a outboard that produces that much power off of a standard battery, we're not there yet. Mm-hmm. You can get a couple miles an hour out of it. I mean, I think the Torqeedos can max out at between like 8 and 10, something along that. But to be able to have that much speed, if you were going to get up into the 50s, the battery size would be something just ridiculous that we wouldn't think of.
When it comes to the scope, I mean, what is next? What is next when it comes to the battle between them? Is it really just making it cleaner, cheaper, smaller? Like, what do you think the next evolution is?
I think you're going to start having units that come out that are dedicated just to live scope without the external processor. It's going to be internalized, and really at this point, it's image clarity, and we can see that from the way that it's progressed since 2016. The original Panoptics compared to now, it's beyond a night and day difference.
Do you think 360 will ever get that next bump up? I mean, I personally, I'm partial to 360 compared to perspective, just because I don't have to just point; it just does its thing. But there's clarity issues when you fire up the motor. There's clarity issues when you're moving, or is that just going to go the way of the dodo bird?
I could see technological advancements that would make it a easier process.
Yeah. No, I'm curious about that for my good old hummingbird people out there. I mean, if people want to get with you, kayak, John boat, whatever, like how do they find you?
You can visit us at newhorizonboatbuilds.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and then you can email us at newhorizonboatbuilds gmail.com.
Okay. And then, guys, as always, I'm going to put a link in the episode description to everything we talked about here, and so you can find him easily. How hard is it? How booked are you right now?
I have a few openings coming up in about a week and a half from now. But any calls made today, we can get you scheduled in for about 2 weeks out.
Okay. Good to know. You fishing this year?
Absolutely.
What are you fishing?
Oh, I'm going to fish a few events with the New Horizon bass anglers. And then I'll also be fishing again as a co-angler with the BFLs on the Shenandoah division.
Luckily, they still got co-anglers because it seems like bass is completely getting rid of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping things get better and the numbers get better too, because this year so far it's been participation across the board's been definitely has depleted.
I wonder how much of that is not the drama, but just the economy right now. And
I'd say it's
mostly.
Mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm hoping because Bass Open did what they did, that the Toyota series, like you said, like it's just going to be pushing more of those guys over to your side of the aisle.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Greg, no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. New Horizon Boat Builds, go give him a follow. Go check him out, guys, whether it's your kayak, your aluminum boat, or your big old bass boat. Go check that out. And like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.